After several minutes of watching farmers in faded overalls and their women in flower sack cut dresses promenading, good vocabulary word, promenading, under the verandas, another good vocabulary word, under the verandas, what does that sound like? They're promenading, that means they're what? Doing what? This is promenading around. Under the verandas, so there has to be some type of what above their heads because they're promenading. And it's a day where you wouldn't normally promenade, but they're going back and forth. TJ said, why don't we go down to the mercantile and look around? Stacy hesitated. I don't know. I think Big Mom wanted to go with us. Oh, shoot, man, we be doing her a favor. We going down to the mercantile now and order up our stuff. We'll save her some time. So when she come from seeing a lawyer, we can just go home. Besides, I got something to show y'all. Stacy pondered the suggestion for a long moment. Well, I guess it'll be all right, he said finally. Big Ma said stay here. I objected, hoping that Mr. Jameson would come out with Big Ma. Stay here then, Stacy called over his shoulder as he crossed the street with TJ. I dashed after them. I wasn't about to stay on the sidewalk by myself. The Barnett Mercantile had everything. Its shelves, counters, and floor space boasted items from ladies' ribbons to burlap bags of seeds, from baby bottles to brand new pot-bellied stoves. TJ, who had been to the store several times before, wove his way among the farmers and led us to the counter at the far corner of the room. The counter had a glass top, and beneath the glass were handguns, artfully displayed on a bolt of red velvet. Just look at it, TJ said dreamily. Ain't she something? What? I said. That pearl-handled one. Ain't she something? Now, he's giving human characteristics to a non-human thing. A thing that's not a person, characteristics of a person. That's called something. That's a literary device right there TJ just used. That pearl-handled one, Stacy. Man, you ever seen a gun like that before in your whole life? I'd sell my life for that gun. One of these days, I tell you one of these days, I'm going to have it too. Huh, I reckon I ain't, said Stacy politely. It's a nice-looking gun, all right. I stared down at the gun. A price tag of $35.95 stared back at me. $35.95? I almost screamed. Just for an old gun? What the devil you gonna use it for? You can't hunt with it. TJ looked at me with disgust. I ain't supposed to hunt with it. It's for protection. Protection of what, I asked, thinking of Papa's sturdy shotgun that hung over him in Mama's bed, and the sleek Winchester rifle which Big Ma kept locked in the trunk beneath her own bed. That thing could hardly kill a rattlesnake. There's other things a body needs protecting from more than a rattlesnake, he said haughtily. I get that gun, and ain't nobody gonna mess with me. I wouldn't need nobody. Stacy backed away from the counter. He seemed nervous being in the store. We better get those things you need and get out of here before Big Mom comes looking for us. Aw, man, there's plenty of time, said TJ, looking longingly at the gun. Sure wish I could just hold it, just once. Come on, TJ, ordered Stacy, or me and Cassie gonna go back outside. All right. TJ turned reluctantly away and went to a counter where a man was measuring nails into a scale. We stood patiently waiting behind the people in front of us, and when our turn came, TJ handed his list to the man. Mr. Barnett, sir, he said, I got me this here list of things my mama want. The storekeeper studied the list and without looking up asked, you one of Mr. Granger's people? Yes, sir, answered TJ. Mr. Barnett walked to another counter and began filling the order. But before he finished, a white woman called, Mr. Barnett, you waiting on anybody else just now? Mr. Barnett turned around. Just them, he said, indicating us with a wave of his hand. What can I do for you, Miss Emmeline? The woman handed him a list twice as long as TJ's, and the storekeeper, without a word of apology to us, proceeded to fill it. What's he doing? I objected. Hush, Cassie, said Stacy, looking very embarrassed and uncomfortable. TJ's face was bland, as if nothing at all had happened. When the woman's order was finally filled, Mr. Barnett again picked up TJ's list, but before he had gotten to the next item, his wife called, Jimmy Lee, these folks needing help over here, and I got my hands full. And as if we were not even there, he walked away. Connect. Has that ever happened to you? Has anyone ever made you feel, or have you ever allowed yourself to feel like you weren't as important as others because of the way other people treated you? Think about that. All right. Where is he going? I cried. He'll be back, said TJ, wandering away. After waiting several minutes for Mr. Barnett to return, Stacy said, come on, Cassie, let's go. He started toward the door, and I followed, but as we passed one of the counters, I spied Mr. Barnett wrapping an order of pork chops for a white girl. Adults were one thing. I can almost understand that. They ruled things, and they were nothing that could be done about them. But some kid who was no bigger than me was something else again. Certainly, Mr. Barnett had simply forgotten about TJ's order. I decided to remind him. Without saying anything to Stacy, I turned around, marched over to Mr. Barnett. Excuse me, Mr. Barnett, I said as politely as I could, waiting a moment for him to look up from his wrapping. I think you forgot, but you was waiting on us before you came waiting on this girl here, and we've been waiting a good while now for you to be back. The girl gazed at me strangely, but Mr. Barnett did not look up. I assumed he had not heard me. I was near the end of the counter, so I merely went to the other side of it and tugged on his shirt sleeve to get his attention. He recoiled, as if I stuck him. You was helping us, I said, back into the front of the counter again. Well, you just get your little black self back over there and wait some more, he said in a low, tight voice. I was hot. I had been as nice as I could be to him, and here he was talking like this. We've been waiting on you for near an hour. I hissed. Why are you around here waiting on everybody else? And it ain't fair. You got no right. Whose little nigga is this? Bellowed Mr. Barnett. Everyone in the store turned and stared at me. I ain't nobody's little nigga, I screamed, angry and humiliated. And you ought not be waiting on everybody else before you wait on us. Hush up, child. Hush up, hush up. Someone whispered behind me. I looked around. A woman who had occupied the wagon next to ours at the market looked down upon me. Miss Barnett, his face red and his eyes bulging, immediately pounced on her. White supremacy. White supremacy, a system that accounts for the humiliation, degradation, and oppression of any and all peoples that are not European or Caucasian. White supremacy, a system that allows for the continued humiliation, degradation, and murder of other people in order for the advantages of the other, white, to continue to be perpetuated. White supremacy. Only through all of us uniting against it can it end. Because this story is not a story just inside these books. This is a story that continues now. Does this saga continue? Does racism and prejudice still exist? Are people still persecuted for their color of their skin? Do you still have to be quiet in certain situations because of the fact that you are of darker skin?